Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
So I got to tell you, as a progressive person, I try my best to listen to people and their plight that they go through because of their skin color, their gender. But as a white man, it can be very difficult to empathize with those points because I haven't experienced that sort of, racism or sexism or anything like that throughout my life because I am the default choice as we've determined in not just from America, but just for
the world,
human history, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
So the reason I bring that up is because it's been very educational for me watching these confirmation hearings for Kentanji Brown Jackson going through her confirmation process to be on the Supreme Court, because this is essentially, in my mind, what black women kind of deal with on the regular, is having to be fucking talked down to by mediocre white guys constantly who are trying to explain to them how to do their job that don't have a basic understanding, and that she's actually like probably the smartest person in that room. Quite honestly, like there's probably not many.
I mean, she's quite literally more qualified to be on the Supreme Court than any of the current Supreme Court justices. Like, yes. She has more qualifications, including the guy she's retiring, right? Or like replacing. It's like someone put up a chart. I'm trying to find it, and I'll be able to find it in a second. But it's quite literally the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's like, oh, right, you guys don't actually give a shit about whether or not she's actually smart. You don't care if she's like clerked for the Supreme Court, which a lot of them had never done, right? Like, so she's been in the Supreme Court environment and understands it, right? But it doesn't matter, right? Like, no. She has to, black women are, and we don't have any black women on the episode, obviously, but black women are a double minority, right? Not only are they black, but they're treated like shit in this country because they're black, and they're also treated like shit because they're women, right? And it's one of those things where you're right. Boy, does these last few days, like, if you couldn't empathize or understand what that is like, you're getting a top billing fucking TV primetime fucking showing of this shit. It's really gross. And we'll go through some of the things that are particularly gross and weird and just generally stupid. Cough, Ted Cruz. But it is something that people should pay attention to. And it is something non-black women should especially pay attention to, because like when black women say like, this is the type of shit we deal with, people go, is it really that bad? Yeah. Now this is a prime example. This woman isn't some random lady on the street. This woman is fucking super bright and is going to be on the Supreme Court, whether Republicans like it or not. And she's a brilliant legal mind, but that's not enough, right? I mean, no. Tucker Carlson started that bullshit, last week with, well, we need to see what her LSAT scores are. Never asked Amy Coney Barrett what hers are. She didn't even go to an Ivy League school. I just found that out today. I was like, really? Wow. Okay. And not that that's necessary, right? It shouldn't necessarily be a thing that is like a requirement to be at the Supreme Court, but like, it's kind of curious. Like, should it go to like the top schools in the country? No. Okay. Like, whatever. So it's just interesting, the difference of how she's being treated and how others are being treated.
Well, and it's also interesting to see people laud her for not taking the bait, for not like overreacting and that kind of stuff. And meanwhile, like if you're on Twitter, like black women are coming in like, yeah, she can't, like she's literally not allowed to. Like, she can't go Brett Kavanaugh and start shouting and crying and screaming at these fucking people, even though she's in the right to. I would argue with some of the lines of questioning that she's having to experience, but she doesn't get to do that because
it's Barack Obama all over again.
Yeah,
it is a thing that white people will never understand. Why doesn't Barack Obama get up there? Because he's not allowed to, dude. You think he's allowed to? But
and
he's not.
And he gets it. That was the whole joke about the anger translator that like that when he brought in like Keegan Michael Key to do that shit at the correspondence center. Like he gets that. And like you said, she gets the double whammy, because not only can she not get angry because she's black, but she's not allowed to get, she's not allowed to get show frustration. Otherwise, she's hysterical. She's a hysterical woman, or
shrill, like or whatever fucking bullshit they threw at Hillary for the same thing. And I'm like,
yeah.
Meanwhile, like, Brett Kavanaugh is losing his shit, screaming, "You're gonna all pay for this!" and the Hillary Clinton machine. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, yeah. So it's wild. It is wild to see. But I got to tell you, Brad, I feel, and not that I don't think you're surprised by this. Only people shocked by this really are white people. Black people are not shocked by this shit.
Trust me, from going down Twitter, like you can definitely tell the contrast in reactions. Yeah. From like you could just see it. You could just see it.
Black people are like,
it's pretty apparent. So
as Chris Rock would say, that train is always on time. Right? Like, dude, like the racist train is always on time. We already know what's coming. Oh, really? A black woman's being nominated to the Supreme Court? Well, sit back and relax, guys, because here comes the bullshit. The parade of bullshit.
Remember when Lindsey Graham said I'm not going to let this be a circus like the Kavanaugh hearing was.
Yeah,
like,
he's the fucking ringleader, dude. He's the ringleader. He's the ringmaster, excuse me. Like he is. He's the fucking ringmaster of this shit. By the way, nobody loves a Supreme Court nomination more than Lindsey Graham. Like this is his this is his thing. He loves it. I remember Sonia Sotomayor, he was like, yo, I like you. I do. I mean, I'm going to say some fucked up shit, but I like you. I'm going to vote for you, but I got to put you through the ringer because I got to be a piece of shit for my fan base. Like, I mean, that's basically what he said. Go back and watch the fucking video.
I mean, we knew we were in for it when he preempted everybody that by like, oh, you can't call us racist. Like we've heard that before. Like you can't throw that term at us. Like you've already done said it to the point where it doesn't mean anything. I'm so like, don't come calling us racist. I'm like, oh, you guys are about to say some racist shit.
Yeah, that's why. Let me just try to get out in front of this bullet before I get shot with it. That's all it is, dude. Like, but guess what? You guys are fucking mad racist. You are, yo. Like, let's get into some of the details, right?
Yeah.
Ted Cruz really showing his Canadian ass over the last couple of days during this nomination process. One of my favorite parts, because I've only been kind of catching it in like fits and starts, because I can't listen to stupid people talking. It irritates the shit out of me. That's why I'm not a Trump supporter. But Ted Cruz, I did see a clip of Ted Cruz basically going after Brown Jackson because asking her, like, listen. Have you seen this book they're showing the kids? Anti-Racist Baby, which is done, is written by, I think it's Imani X Kindi or something like that. I have that book, right? Incidentally. So when this book popped up, I was like, oh, this will be interesting. What is Ted Cruz going to say about this book that's not really in this book? Because I've read the book. Spoiler alert, not a big fan of the book. But not for the reasons that Ted Cruz is not a fan of a book he never read. I'm not a fan of the book.
I don't know. He have an intern go down to Kinko's and get like a fucking 4x4 poster board sign of several pages of it.
Right. Print it out. It's got anti-racist in it. That's bad. Okay. Weird. So the premise of the book is that nobody is born racist, but some people are, and it is not enough to not be racist. You have to be an anti-racist, right? So that the idea that you have to, the anti-racist baby, the baby is like the sort of the point of view of the book. Like, it is important for parents to teach their children and for this anti-racist baby to learn how to be anti-racist, how to call out racism when they see it, how to speak up when they see those things, how they can choose to treat people equally no matter what their skin tone is, right? It is about being active in the fight against racism. That's what it's about. That's what an anti-racist baby is. It is not there's nothing in the book about like this white baby is racist, this black baby is racist, this Asian baby is racist. There's nothing in the book about that. It's about parents teaching their kids to be active members in fighting against racism. That's how I know he didn't read the book. He didn't read it, right? Like he just didn't read it. Again, I have it upstairs. I'm not a fan of that book, not because of the messaging, because it's not really a kid's book. It's purported as a kid's book. It's not really for kids. It's for adults. Like it is. It's kid drawings and stuff. I'm not a real fan of the art, but I've seen better. But
sounds pretty racist, Jay. Because any criticism of this book has to be racist.
Right. Well, that's true. It is an anti-racist book, so thereby, yeah. Ergo. So yeah, it's not about that. It's about pushing to be more active in fighting against racism. So if you're like against the messaging of the book, I think you might just be a racist. Like I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. It's pretty harmless in teaching kids about how to respect other people. It doesn't say that kids of color are more or less susceptible to racism, or it doesn't purport any of that. It's all about, here is a array of people, treat them all with respect and be a good person. That's it. Even the point of view isn't from a black child. There are multiple anti-racist babies in this anti-racist baby book.
But now you might be saying, what does this have to do with Kentanji Brown Jackson? And that's a great question.
Yeah.
The way that Ted Cruz masterfully tried to tie this somehow to her is because they have this book at the library of the Georgetown Day School, a school that Kentanji Brown Jackson either is or was a member of the board of.
She sits on the board, I believe.
She sits on the board now. Okay, so she's a current member of the board of this school. So somehow, because she sits on the board of this school, and this school has this book in the library, that must mean that Kentanji Brown Jackson personally is pushing critical race theory to young children at the Georgetown Day School.
I mean,
and will therefore spread critical race theory to all of the laws in America, because that's how being a Supreme Court justice works.
I mean, I'm glad you laid it out so simply, Brad. Good night, everybody. That's it. No sarcasm needed. Perfect.
Yeah. Meanwhile, that book also apparently found, according to one reporter, in the library of the private school where Ted Cruz's children attend as well. Just
really? That's fucking hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yes.
It's a positive book. I don't think it's a very good kid's book, but that's the dad in me. That's not the lib in me. I have no problem with the overall messaging. I just think it fucking sucks as a kid's book. And incidentally, I've been on calls. I was on a call with that guy who wrote that, and like listening to him speak on like issues of race. I like the guy. Seems like pretty decent guy. Like seems pretty smart. Has a lot of smart things to say. Just this guy sucks at writing a kid's book. It's just not a good kid's book. Like, it is what it is. Get help. So, but I just don't like. It's such a weird stance to take that there's a book in this library and at a school, not that you even send your kids to, that you're on the board. Like, on what board of a school do they like, all right, here are the new 500 books we're putting in the library this year, approve each one. Like, that doesn't happen.
that's how that works, Jay. That's exactly how it works at every private school in the country, is that the board literally approves every single book that makes its way to the library.
I guess that's why my wife is working so hard at the school that she's also on the board of, right? Like, it's all night with these like approvals of these books. Like, I'm like, go to bed. She's like, but I have to read through Anti-Racist Baby 5 times before I can approve this book. I'm like, all right, that makes sense. Like, you don't want a pro-racist baby. What the fuck? So I found that line of questioning just to be bizarre and stupid, but it also plays to the compatibility, or plays to his fan base and their understanding and their gullibility of oh, it's got anti-racist in it. There's like Antifa, so it's got to be actually racist, or like whatever their twisted mind is, right?
Well,
like,
that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing that you have to understand from the Republican side is that this isn't about her per se. No. Like she just happens to be the person in the chair. This is about creating, 30-second, 45-second clips that Sean Hannity can run at 9:00.
Yep, that's it.
That night, essentially, and just so you can continue to bang home the CRT message. And the other message that they're really trying hard to tag on her.
They're working overtime on this one, boy.
Oh, well, because the other stuff just kind of like slid off, right? Because she's like, like someone asked her about critical race theory besides Ted Cruz. And she was basically like, yeah, she's like, my understanding is that that's a legal principle that I've never, that I don't really know anything about, that doesn't have anything to do with my rulings that I've issued as a judge. Like that's, it's a college thesis, and that was basically the end of that. Yeah. Like once she kind of laid that out there and actually defined what critical race theory was, that's what they did. Another great question asked by Marsha Blackburn, who I saw someone on Twitter say always looks like she slept in her car and brushed her hair with a cat.
That's pretty good, man.
That's a pretty good definition.
It's not inaccurate. It's really not inaccurate.
Asked her if she could ask Judge Jackson if she could define what a woman was, and Kentanji Brown Jackson refused to answer. So somehow, like that was like a big gotcha. Like she can't define a woman. And then and then on Fox later, one of the hosts asked Marsha Blackburn, what's your definition of a woman? And Marsha Blackburn's definition was, like someone like me, and that kind of, like, I'm a woman. Like she couldn't even,
she couldn't answer it either.
She didn't even answer the question herself.
Marsha Blackburn fucking sucks. She's dude.
She's pretty awful.
Good Lord. By the way, she is a classic conservative white woman. Like she really is. Like everything about her, like you and I and Andy were joking in our like chat that, sometime next week, you'll have the conservatives saying how they need to get rid of women's suffrage, and you'll have conservative Republican women senators like backing the bill. Marsha Blackburn would be number one, dude. We need to make sure these women can't vote. That means you, right? She's like, excellent. I'm an idiot.
She would co-sponsor it. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, she's like, this is just a fucking genius bill. Like, who came up with this shit?
Holy shit. I'm an idiot. Like, you don't want me voting for anybody. Look at me. I look like I brushed my hair with a cat. Like this. I did. My God, she's a. But those were pretty trivial compared to what they've been really trying to tag on Judge Jackson during these hearings.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. Wow, this picture of Marsha Blackburn, wow, she really does look like she combed her hair with a cat. It's fucking hilarious.
Like get a stylist. Like it's not.
No, she does. She does have one. She does have one. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, Brad. Give you a little inside dope. I guarantee she has a stylist. I guarantee that stylist is a gay man, and that stylist is like, every time you say some fucked up shit, I'm gonna send your ass out there looking like 5 miles of bad road. It's like Trey Gowdy, dude. There's no way Trey Gowdy gets his hair cut by a straight man. He doesn't, dude. Like, every time you say some fucked up shit about gay people, that guy's like, no, fucking make your ass look like an asshole. And then he sends his ass out there. Yeah. No, leave gay people alone. They gonna fuck your hair up. Don't do it. Now, she got a stylist. That person hates her. I get it. So
either that or it's like a Boris Johnson situation where she like makes herself look crazy on purpose.
I mean, it's working. It's working. Good God. So yeah, they're trying to tie Justice Jackson, future Justice Jackson, Supreme Court Justice Jackson, because that's definitely happening. They're trying to tie her down to being too lenient on child pornographers. This is a wild move, man.
Yeah.
So Andy found this quote from the National Review, the known liberal rag, the National Review.
That was the point I was going to make. Like if you have the National Review coming out here saying like this is repugnant, I feel like you've gone too far.
The National Review called it, quote, meritless to the point of demagoguery. Like, yo, what are you even talking about? Justice Jackson, when they questioned her numerous times. I mean, I think there's been 3 or 4 different people who have gone after this point. It's really fucking shitty. She basically was like, 1, what are you even fucking talking about? 2, like, I've talked to the people that I've sentenced who have been child pornographers and broke down to them like what you did, what it does to the victims, like really making them understand how fucked up this is. And then she talks about like how those people, the child pornographers, had been abused and things like that. Like, she was giving a level of humanity to these people. It doesn't mean she doesn't put them in jail, but they are still human beings. And you like, look, it is the weirdest fucking thing that I have to say, and I hate bringing this up. Reminds me of a joke, incidentally. But because people think like, oh, the only reason you would talk about this is because you sympathize with them. No, they're human beings with a mental disorder, dude. We have to stop acting like fucking children and address the issue. Like, and her point is like, yeah, these people are abused. They're fucked up. Doesn't mean you don't put them in jail. Doesn't mean you don't throw the fucking book at them. But you can still acknowledge that they are fucked up people, man, and why they're fucked up. And they're just like, they're trying so desperately to tie this as like she's lenient on pedophiles or something like that. Like, she's not. Like, even her, like, if you go back and look at her judgments, they're not out of step with any fucking federal judge.
Well, and that's the thing Ted Cruz had like a pie chart that he brought with him to class today, and basically showed that
what I brought.
Yeah, that she sentenced defendants in these cases to an average of 47% less than what prosecutors were asked for, or what asked for in sentencing. And here's the thing. The way that judges work is most crimes in this country, especially on the federal level, have like sentencing guidelines across that are attached to them. Like here's the minimum, here's the maximum, here's what's recommended, that kind of thing. And then the judge, and then the prosecution can ask for whatever the fuck they want to. Like, they can ask for the moon if they want, but that doesn't.
And it's a child pornographer, dude. They're going to ask for the fucking moon. Yeah, always. And then it's the judge's responsibility. Like, their role in the system is to ultimately weigh the facts of the case and weigh, the seriousness and the egregiousness of the crime, and to impose a sentence based around these guidelines that are being set. Now, one of the other problems is that the judiciary and the legislature work in tandem in this area. Judges don't get to decide what the guidelines are. That's determined by laws, and laws are made by the legislature. And according to Dick Durbin, because he brought this up today during the session when Ted Cruz kept trying to badger her about this stuff, or Lindsey Graham actually, is that they haven't touched these laws in about 15 or 16 years since the last update to the federal guidelines around sentencing and child pornographers. I don't know if you guys realize the leaps and bounds that we've seen in technology, in the way that child pornography is able to be shared across like the dark web, shit like that over the past 15 to 16 years. And Judge Jackson's point was, like, we're working within the system. She's correct in saying that her sentencing recommendations are in line with like 70% of the federal district court justices out there, including many, many, many Republican appointed justices, mind you, and many Republican justices. And that if they really want to change the punishment for these crimes, then they need to go back and fucking update the legislation and update the law around it, because judges follow the law. Like, that's literally what they do. Right. It's a perfect answer, actually. And it's, so I'm of two minds of this, or not two minds of it. I splinter off on 2 points on this, which is, she's 100% correct. And they are doing this. They're going after this topic. It's not because of her. It's not because they even believe it. This is a QAnon thing. This is red meat for that group of fucking psychos who supports them. And they go, child pornography. It's fucking everywhere because that's what they believe, right? Everyone's a child pornographer and the devil, and they're all fucking kids and eating kids and all of that crazy shit. Well, they can't come out and say that, right? Because if Ted Cruz comes out and is like, oh, you know, the QAnon stuff is awesome, I love it. People will be like, oh, that guy's a fucking lunatic. We don't want that guy on the federal level. He needs to go, right? Everyone else will realize that, right? Everyone hates Ted Cruz anyway, but that will give them another reason to think that Ted Cruz shouldn't be anywhere near them. So they play at this because it can play on the fringe. They know that regular Republicans will be like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then like they'll do their, like the few of them, they'll do their research, be like, all right, well, that's actually a shitty attack. Who gives a fuck? Mm-hmm. I just don't want her because she's a Democrat, right? But the QAnon people will eat it up. They'll eat it up. They will run with Kentanji Brown Jackson being a pedophile or a pedophile sympathetic person. They'll run with that for 20 years, right? That will fuel them every time they go to the ballot box and, oh, remember Joe Biden put a pedophile sympathizer on the court. That's why that's there, right? That's the one. That's part one of my two trains of thought on this. The other part is they don't like them putting that shit out there. They also know that it could be enough to kind of spur like Joe Manchin or Kristen Sinema to be like, I don't know, maybe.
She's too controversial. She's too controversial.
Right. And they know that they got to try to pick at something. And here's the thing. Manchin's not an idiot. Sinema's not an idiot. They act like idiots, but they're not idiots. This isn't going to work. Like, but they got to pick at something because they don't really have anything. Mm-hmm. You shot your load on fucking CRT. That shit didn't work. Hey, do you believe in critical race theory? Why? Because I'm black? Oh, fuck. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. They don't have anything. So they jump to this. And it's like, all right, well, this will work for the QAnon people. Oh, will it work for everybody else? No, not really. That's fucking stupid. And then they're like, fuck. We're out of it. They don't have anything. Yeah. She's incredibly smart. She's incredibly skilled. Half of these motherfuckers voted for her to have the spot she's got now as a circuit court judge. Like, you don't really have anything. You don't have anything.
I mean, and again, they've continued trying. Like, they've tried to hit her because she defended terrorists, because she was a public defender. So like they fucking and you know, she spun it the right way. Like, that's like the American legal system is built on the fact that everyone deserves due process. Everyone deserves to have a defense. John Adams, former president, defended British soldiers after the Revolutionary War. FYI, for those that might not have known that. They also tried to, and this was funny because this got Republicans to say some wild shit, like Lindsey Graham's out here saying that like he doesn't think that anyone locked up in Guantanamo Bay deserves to have a defense. I'm like, so you don't believe in due process? Like you were in the fucking JAG Corps, my dude.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
What the
like,
hell?
Nah, yo, you don't. Even you don't believe that, dude. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah. Like, you sound wild. But you know, these guys have no ability to just take, like, they can't just look at this person and go, yeah, all right.
Well, and remember a couple weeks ago, like when it was clear that like it was headed this way. I remember I brought up the point, like it would actually be a savvy and smart political move for Republicans to just not fight this at all, to just fucking let it sail through, no problem. It's still going to be a fucking 6-3 court. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not shaping the balance of the court in any way. You could get a massive PR win. You could take the high ground and be like, oh, look, Democrats, like, they attacked Kavanaugh. They attacked Amy Coney Barrett. We were nice to this black woman that you know,
we love black women.
Supreme Court. Yeah.
Like we're awesome. It's her and Candace Owens. Those are the only two we know. Like,
yeah, and they could have easily played this.
They could have
in such a smooth way and really like trip up Democrats if possible, but they can't because their base needs red meat, and also Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley were always going to go into business for themselves.
Oh, 100%. Well, hey,
regardless of what
2024 is coming up, baby. I got moves to make.
Regardless of what the strategy was, they were always going to go into business for themselves. So yeah, that was never a doubt.
Yeah, it's wild to watch. You're absolutely right. They could have played it, but Brad, but I would make the argument that there is another reason that they couldn't just let this one sail by without giving them that red meat, and that goes directly into our next story.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like our boy Clarence Thomas hates black women so much that he refuses to even live in a world where a black woman could be on the Supreme Court. He was like, I would rather die than to serve alongside a black woman on the Supreme Court. Which he seems to be really trying to do. Justice Clarence Thomas hospitalized after, quote, experiencing flu-like symptoms. What could it be, Brad? What could it be? Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas was admitted to the Selby Memorial Hospital in Washington, D.C. on Friday. I wonder why he didn't go to Walter Reed. It's not COVID-related. The justice does not have COVID, a spokesperson for the Supreme Court said. It's COVID. Yes, it is. He has flu-like symptoms? From what? What's he got? The flu? Like he's going to die of the regular-ass flu? Nah, I don't buy it. He underwent tests, was diagnosed with an infection, and has been treated with intravenous antibiotics. Interesting. What's that cocktail look like, I wonder? Ivermectin in prayers and wishes. His symptoms are abating.
We can only be so lucky.
Oh, if it's only ivermectin. But like the horse kind, not the human kind. His symptoms are abating. He is resting comfortably, and he expects to be released from the hospital in a day or two. Now, that article was written on March 21st, Brad.
Yeah, it was Monday.
Sunday. We got an update. Update says...
Do we have an update, Jay? Because I don't think we do have an update.
I think we have an update without an update. March 23rd, 2 days later, High Court won't say whether Thomas remains hospitalized. If Clarence Thomas was feeling better, and if Clarence Thomas was out of the hospital, they would say he was out of the hospital. And they would say he's resting at home. Not fucking buying it. I think this guy is in a world of trouble.
Let's go full Lebanon. Let's go full conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat.
All right.
Clarence Thomas is already dead.
Yo, that's straight QAnon, right? Clarence Thomas is actually Clarence Thomas has been in Gitmo for a month.
and they are going to hire Morgan Freeman
to play.
And they're going to perform a face-off like operation between Morgan Freeman and Clarence Thomas to have Morgan Freeman act as Clarence Thomas for as long as Morgan Freeman lives.
Wow,
so that is lose the Supreme Court seat.
That is an unfortunate setup for Morgan Freeman.
It really is.
It
really is.
I think there is a decent chance that Clarence Thomas is in a world of trouble. I think he is.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
Sure. Look, Mike and I just on Black on Black Cinema. Micah says that he just does not, he doesn't like to wish people pain. He doesn't want this guy to die. And I said, I just don't care. I just don't care. I don't care. That heaven is not missing an angel. Also, again, I don't wish death on anybody, but at the same time, that's another seat, man. Like, we could really use that pickup. I gotta tell you. Wow.
I will treat it with the same level of respect and dignity that Republicans did with the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. How about that?
That's fair.
How about that? Where Mitch McConnell literally could not wait 24 hours to mention that we were gonna have that seat filled before the election. Literally could not wait a day. He was so fucking excited.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, we're going to get a new fucking Republican Supreme Court justice up in there.
I mean, hey, look, Mitch McConnell is a piece of shit, but like, I get it. I get it from his perspective. Like, he was just like, fucking hell yeah, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
And so, to that, I say, let's go, boys. Like, Meh, don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Look, he's not a Supreme Court justice where it's like, oh, it'd be cool to have that seat. Like, I don't want that guy to die. But like, I don't really.
He doesn't have to die. What
he
what
just
if
retire,
what if,
dude.
I'm about to say what if his health was debilitated to the point where he was still alive but could not do his duties as a Supreme Court justice anymore? I'd be totally fine with that.
Look, you get a crab rave either way, bro. Like, you get a crab rave either way. You have to resign or retire because of your health. And look, I absolutely prefer that. I truly would. That's not even me being sarcastic. I would absolutely prefer him to just retire, take care of himself, live the rest of his life with him and his garbage fucking wife. If either one of them had to die of COVID, I'd rather it be her. She is quite literally a racist piece of shit. Just because you fuck a black dick doesn't make you a fucking anti-racist. Those babies are anti-racist. Clarence Thomas's wife is a pro-racist. No, she's a garbage person. If any of them are going to die of a debilitating disease, I'd much rather it be her. But if it causes him to retire, it's fine. It's fine. There's no skin off my back, man. I don't give a shit. Just get off the court. Look, I hope you feel great, and then you just retire anyway. Just get off the court, you fucking garbage person. Just get off.
I mean, he would be the same as Ginsburg. Like if he can crawl to the court every day, he would do it just so that they don't lose a fucking seat.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he didn't resign the second Trump lost. I'm shocked by that because I thought for sure he was just going to be like fucking deuces, man.
I mean, it would have been smart.
It would have been smart.
Especially considering like all the shit your fucking wife was into. They're talking about like people are rumblings now about like possibly impeaching him at this point.
I mean, I've heard the conspiracy theory that like that's actually what this is. Fake an illness. My belly hurts. I'm gonna retire. And then just like they fucking just bounce and then they get the fuck out of there. I've heard that conspiracy theory. I don't hate it because it still gets Clarence Thomas off that fucking bench.
Like the end result, like as long as we get to the end result here, like there's many paths we can take, many paths. Some are better than others.
Right, dear God, it's up to you, really. Hello, God, it's me, Martha, or Margaret. So I don't care. I think that guy I think he's a real bad dude. Like, I think legitimately is quite a bad dude. But I do love the idea that you are seeing the Republican Party fighting a little bit harder because they're terrified, man. 5-4 court, it's getting close, man. It's getting close because they got a lot of guys edging to the older side, right? Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett are fairly young. But like Alito is not fucking.
A 5-4 court with a John Roberts who is just trying desperately to fucking have any sense of legitimacy with the Supreme Court that he oversees. Like, he's trying so hard to just fucking hang on for dear life.
Like Sam Alito John Roberts is 67. Sam Alito is 71. So like they're not young guys, right? Like Clarence Thomas is 73. Okay. Like, and Breyer was 400. So, like, like it's, and on the Democratic side, they've got what? Elaine Keegan, who else?
Sotomayor.
They're both like late 50s, early 60s, right?
Yeah. I would imagine they're in that range. Yeah.
So like, they're not going anywhere.
Brown Jackson's 51, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh, Sonia Sotomayor. Damn, she looks great. She's 67. And I think Elaine Keegan's probably early 60s. I don't know what's her age. She's 61, right? So they've got plenty of time. But yeah, like. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Sam Alito is gonna quite literally be there fucking forever. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'd give Alito 10 years max. I think 10 years. But 10 years, you can do a lot of damage in 10 years, right? That's, a full presidency, plus a midterm. So, but it's interesting that they could lose it and get down to a 5-4 court. And by the way, like we had talked about offline, if I'm Joe Biden, man, I got me a black man waiting in the wings to get nominated. And he's like 40 years old, 42 from Baltimore, who doesn't really have any like judicial experience whatsoever. I just did jury duty. I think I'm ready, Brad. Put me in, coach.
I could be your like advisor. I've seen
fuck this up
on the show before, every episode of Law and Order, which makes me about as eligible to judge Supreme Court stuff as Tom Tillis, who said that he wasn't a lawyer today, but he's seen a lot of episodes of Law and Order.
Yeah, I watch Law and Order from time to time. He says from time to time. He's not even a regular viewer. From time to time, he catches it.
Well,
on
I'm a
TBS.
super fan. Like, I'm watching that shit all the time.
Right. Yeah.
So clearly, I know more about the judicial goings-ons than Tom Tillis does.
Right. Like you're all a part of the law part. Like that's
right.
That's it. Or the order part. Excuse me. But that's just like, dude said it out loud. Like he said it out loud.
Right. It's a wild thing to say.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I have questions. Like, all right, dude. So
Cory Booker brought it back tonight, though. I don't know if you got a chance to see that yet, but basically,
I saw people talking about it. I did not have a chance to actually see it.
Yeah, he went on a very Cory Booker-esque rant about like the Republicans here being ridiculous, and then
good for him.
To Brown Jackson, he was basically like, "Don't let them fucking ruin this shit for you." Like acknowledge the fact that like this is historic, like, and this is like you earned this, like you deserve this. Like just because they're acting fools doesn't mean that you're any less deserving of this, this historic moment of being the first black woman that's going to be on the Supreme Court. I actually moved her to tears. Cory Booker did.
Look, man, Cory Booker is a nerd. Okay, Cory Booker is a nerd. Cory Booker is a herb. Okay, like
yeah, I'm pretty sure TR would be calling him a herb right now. So.
Right, he is. As we often refer to Cory Booker is a herb ass nigga. Like, and I love Cory Booker. Like, I do, man, because Cory Booker is a genuine dude. He's a dork, but he's a genuine dude, and you're gonna get that response from him. You're gonna get that, like, this is historic and all this other stuff. You're gonna get that from him for one major reason. Cory Booker's got a black mom, like he does. He's got black family members. Like, he's got black women in his family. And you can't help but get proud of seeing somebody who looks like you accomplish something that's never been done before. Again, white people don't really know what that's like. Like, let's say it would be like if a white person won the slam dunk contest, like in the NBA, like, it would be amazing, right? Once in a generation, right? Like, imagine how white people would feel. They would be ballistic, right? Like, they would go crazy. And understandably, right? Because it's never gonna fucking happen, right? Ever. Let's just let that dream go. Larry Bird is over.
Larry Bird wasn't a dunker.
No shit. No shit, Brad. No shit. No shit.
Larry Bird did not play in the paint. Come on.
No. Only on the outside, my man. Like, give the ball to Kevin McHale. But it's important, and I'm glad that he did say that. Like, it's important. But look, to see a black woman ascend to this position, I love it, man. I love it. I can't, a lot of what we've heard over the last couple of weeks is a bunch of white men getting on my goddamn nerves with, why does it have to matter about race and all this other shit? It only doesn't matter to you because it's always white guys up until recently. Mm-hmm. Up until recently, right? Think about it. In our lifetime was the first time a woman was elected to the Supreme Court in the 80s.
Yes.
What the fuck? Dude,
here's a fun fact, by the way. I just learned this today.
Is this the Lawrence O'Donnell?
Yeah, this is the Lawrence O'Donnell.
I was going to bring it up. This is phenomenal information. Go ahead.
So, like, people are like, I think Michael Beschloss went on Twitter and was like, I've never seen like a confirmation hearing like be just a stage for senators just to fucking try to mug for the camera constantly and like just try to get their own agenda out there instead of actually asking questions of the nominee. And Lawrence O'Donnell came back. He's like, he's like, for the first 127 years or however long it was, like they didn't even do confirmation hearings. Like they just fucking voted on it. While white Christians were being put up for Supreme Court, seats, all of a sudden, they nominate a Jewish guy, and they're like, "Whoa, let's pump the brakes here a little bit. We need to have a hearing to make sure that this guy is legit before we can just let him on the court."
Is that Brandeis? Is my guess?
I didn't catch who it was, but yeah.
My guess is it was Brandeis. Pretty famous guy. And I only know that because my buddy, who is also Jewish, went to Brandeis University. So, incidentally, Anita Hill teaches there, which is just kind of funny, or at least did. But it's curious, right? Like that. Mm-hmm. That's a perfect example of the bullshit.
Yeah.
That minorities deal with in this country. For 127 years, they were just like, just vote on it. Who gives a fuck? Of course whoever you put up is qualified. A Jew? Get out of here. New procedure. I sent that story. I sent that tweet to my Jewish buddy. He was like, wow, I didn't even know that. That's pretty fun. It's like,
but it just goes to show you that, like when white people say they don't get why we have to make everything about, someone's skin color or their gender or their religion, because if you're not white, male, and Christian, which is all the defaults, then you get scrutinized. Period.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So.
It's wild. Again, the first woman was in our lifetime. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, dude.
And there wasn't another one for like 20 years after Sandra Day O'Connor.
Yeah,
give or take.
Yep. So again, like it's curious, and like look at Sandra Day O'Connor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Respected, straight shooter, respected on all sides, as it were. Nominated by Ronald Reagan. Look at the difference. Ronald Reagan puts up Sandra Day O'Connor. People aren't like, fuck that bitch. They're not. They're like, she's like mad qualified. Like, all right. And that's Ronald Reagan. He was a piece of shit. Right?
I mean, to be fair, that was like Sandra Day O'Connor was pre-Bork, right? And Bork is when things started.
Yeah, it went kind of fucking left. Right. Yeah, of course. But I'm just saying, like, where we were versus where we are is just crazy. Yeah. It's just crazy. So, yeah. But I think you're seeing the Republican Party fight a little bit harder because I think they are legitimately concerned about Thomas. If it becomes a 5-4 court, ooh, buddy, shit is gonna get serious. By the way, if Clarence Thomas dies or has to retire, QAnon will say that this was 100% planned by Democrats. I remember when Republicans said that Democrats killed Scalia. Not that cheeseburger is a poor diet and no exercise could have possibly been the reason he died. No, it was Democrats that killed that picture of health, Antonin Scalia. All right.
Oh, that's why McConnell didn't want to fill the seat before the election to punish Democrats for their murder. Antonin Scalia.
Just putting a pillow over the head of Antonin Scalia, and by pillow I mean a plate of pasta primavera. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Get the fuck out of here. They killed him. I'm like, dude, no. Barilla killed him. Like, not get the fuck off. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. They killed him.
Oh
the gall. I just wrote this story as let's just have a fist fight. Like, let's just come on, dude. Let's just have a fist fight.
Like I said, I saw. So, man, speaking of things that are wild to say in front of a camera.
Yeah, like, hold on. I want to make sure
Well, so to set you up for this, the preface here is that during the hearing, John Cornyn complained to Judge Jackson. Why he did this, I have no fucking clue, as if Judge Jackson has anything to do with this shit. Complained about the fact, I think in making a point about not wanting to see judicial activism, he complained about the fact that he thought the Obergefell case, which legalized gay marriage in the United States, was wrongly decided. And that of course. And that the court should not have waded in on an issue that's best left to the states, as Republicans love to fucking say.
Right. So they tee that one up. So he teased that one up. He's like, you know, gay marriage, not cool, right? But then it's like, well, let's dig a little deeper into our own bigotry, because of course he also Mike Braun, or Von Braun, if you want to sort of add that for no reason, says that maybe Loving versus Virginia was a bad ruling by the Supreme Court. You know, the law that or the Supreme Court case that legalized interracial marriage in the United States on a federal level. Maybe that should have also get kicked back to the states, because that's also judicial activism. Well. And so here we are now thinking about kicking interracial marriage back to the states. As a person who is in an interracial marriage, I would like to fight this guy. Like, straight up, like, let's just put on boxing gloves or not and just have a fist fight instead of talking about this, because that would be easier for me, I think. I can't express to you how annoying I find the Republican Party over the last couple of days. This, to me, and we'll talk about why they're doing this. It's from their perspective, it's a very logical reason, but it's still gross. This, to me, is one of those things where you go, why the fuck does anybody support the Republican Party? Like, truly, why do you support it? Right? Like, you know, I think it's a really weird thing that, like, people associate, like, people who are like tough military, or like I'm into weightlifting. So, like, I watch a lot of, like, weightlifting people or whatever. I follow them on Instagram and stuff like that. And, like, a lot of them are weirdly conservative, right? They'll have, like, a Trump shirt on, and I'm like, all right, unfollow. But I'm like, could you just not say it? As long as I don't know in my heart of hearts, I can just keep following you and listen to your advice. But a lot of them tend to be conservative, right? I don't know why republicanism is somehow seen as equal to toughness. Like, because to me, like, protecting people is tough. Like, that's what strength is. Like, not just kicking people while they're down.
No. Well, protecting people with guns is tough, Jay. Protecting people with money and equality is for pussies. That's fair. That's the mindset there.
That's fair. I forgot. My bad. My bad. But, like, so I find it weird, because I would love to ask people, like, it's like, cool. Do you think that interracial marriage should just be, like, possibly banned in states? Like, I don't think those people would believe that. They'd be like, yo, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy.
Half of them would probably not realize that it was illegal
at some point,
as recently as, like, the mid 60s.
Right, dude. Like, Loving versus Virginia was not fucking 400 years ago. Like, incidentally, my in-laws, who were also an interracial couple, got married the year it passed. Like, they were like, cool, it's legal now? Boom, the year after it passed. Right? Like, that's it. And they got married in a state, it definitely wasn't legal then. Like, because it was legal in some states, right? Because basically the idea was, like, they went to, I want to say, Maryland to get married. Like, they were in Virginia, and they went to Maryland or New York or something like that and got married because it was legal there. And then they went back to Virginia, and they were like, nah, yo, that shit don't count here. And then it got pushed up to the federal, level eventually. And then they won, obviously, because that was a stupid case and it should have never been a thing. But the reason that they're going after Loving versus Virginia, or this fucking buffoon, is the first one to throw the trial balloon up, spoiler alert, a lot of them agree with that, right? For the reason I'm going to say, is because, like Brad said, if you're trying to get rid of gay marriage, if you're trying to get rid of that ruling, you have to kill this ruling too and kick it all back to the states so that you can seem like it's just about marriage rulings on marriage, which is definitely their plan. That's definitely their plan, 100%. Hey, guys, you think that the Supreme Court matters, by the way? Think maybe you should vote?
I just love all the conservatives that were like, no. It's like abortion's the only thing they're going to go after just because they've been, we've been fighting against that for decades now. Like, they're not going to go over any other, rights that have been granted to people. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. You give someone a taste, they tend to come back for more. Typically, if they think they can, if they see that they have this apparatus in this, conservative Supreme Court to knock down these decisions that they disagree with, they're going to attack as many of the decisions as possible. So if they do knock down Roe, and if the Supreme Court overturns it, you are absolutely going to see some dumb redneck state ban gay marriage just to get a case in the system in order to get it to shoot it up to Washington. Essentially.
Yep. And
that is going to absolutely happen.
Right. And you're going to see Mississippi or someplace like that try to go after Loving versus Virginia.
Yep.
You actually might see that first, to be honest. You might see it first.
Yeah.
Here's my argument against it. I mean, for obvious reasons, besides like, hey, this is bigoted and ridiculous, and like, who's for this?
Well, I'm curious to hear your argument, because my arguments could be something that I talked about on the show a million times before. But go ahead with what you got. So,
I think the federal government should be like, okay, or the Supreme Court should be like, all right, cool, all marriages are banned. How about that?
Hey,
how about that? And they're replaced. And I've said this. This is the number one. This is the number one way to everybody gets a civil union.
Yeah.
Republicans have a huge issue with the word marriage because it's in the Bible or some other book. I don't know, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, whatever they read. Who gives a fuck? It's all nonsense. There's lines.
I think based on Ted Cruz's reading habits throughout history, that might be a little above his reading level.
That's true. He can't even read anti-racist, baby. He's like, Narnia is a real book. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think it should be kicked. I think all marriage should be kicked. Gone. It is not a federal issue. It is not even a state issue. It's not a government issue at all.
Marriage is technically a religious issue.
That's right. And I think what you do is you get rid of all of it, and every marriage, in quotes, that is in existence right now, they're all civil unions. They have the exact same rights. Nothing changes. Same divorce laws. You just call it something else. You don't call it divorce. The ending of the civil union, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same as far as like property division and ownership and all of those things and insurance. All of that stuff just changes language. It doesn't change any like deals about like what it is. You want to have a formal marriage as a Christian? Get a fucking marriage as a Christian. You want to do it as a Satanist or a fucking Muslim or a Scientologist, whatever you want to do, you call it whatever you want to call it. You call it whatever you want. No religion can tell another religion not to call it a marriage. You call it whatever the fuck you want. Then you're good. If your religion says, I already see that you're a civil union and that's compatible with our religion, then fine, so be it. Who cares? Then the federal government is out of the business of marriage, and all they are doing is setting up contracts between two individuals. And those contracts can only be set up between adults.
Jay's gone full libertarian.
I'm serious. Maybe those 13-year-olds are right.
This is the Rand Paul show.
Yeah. Please don't attack me. I'm just trying to do lawn care. But they're just contracts. They're contracts, and they're the exact same, because that's all a marriage is. It's a contract. That's all it is. If you sleep with somebody else in that contract, they can break the contract, whatever. They can get rid of the contract. Set it up as a contract, then you take religion out of it. You want to get married in your church, or as Mr. Burns would say, your synagogue, like that's fine, right? I love that episode. You want to do that? then have a marriage. That's fine. If you are a person who is not religious and you want to have a civil union, it's also fine. But they're equal. Nothing changes. That's the way you fucking fight back on it. Cool. Because if I'm a Supreme Court justice, I'm like, just get rid of all of it. Fine. You deal with it. Fuck it. You deal with it.
Your idea is better than mine. Mine just goes back to the argument that I've made on this show many times.
Forced gay marriage, Brad. It's a really weird
that's the
stance.
one. No, that if you're gonna leave like important fucking social issues like this to and make it different from state to state, what's the point of even having a fucking country? Like, what's the point of having federal laws if you're gonna fucking do that? Like there's you can say that America stands for these things. And if you believe that Americans should have the choice to be married to whoever they want to, then that should be the law, a federal law, period. And if you want to be a part of America, then you abide by this law.
Right.
And if you don't want to be part of America, then fucking kick rocks. Get out of here.
I'm equally as okay with that. But I love the idea of just being like, oh, yeah, no, you know what? We are going to kick it back to the States. Marriages don't exist anymore. Done.
That would be cool. I actually,
if I had a 7-2 lib court, that's what I would do. I'd be like, listen, write that legislation, bring it up here. We'll fucking put the fucking Supreme Court stamp right on that shit. Boom, marriages don't exist. Fuck out of here. Signed, Justice Jackson. Me. Like, done, dude. Done. Eat a dick. like I think if your hold up is that marriage is a religious institution and it's not fair to us that other people can have joy, then cool. None of you get it. Fuck off. And go do the shit at your own church or whatever and be happy. It don't affect you. Two people getting married, like two Christians having a civil union. Like, here's the thing that's so fucking stupid, right? About marriage laws and how marriage works in this country. This is what's so fucking dumb. People make such a big religious argument, conservatives make such a big religious argument. We got to do it because, that's what our religion says. That's cool. Since when does your religion say that the federal government has to approve it? It doesn't. But you cannot get married in this country legally without the government coming in and signing a document. Your state has to sign off on it. All that pomp and circumstances of wearing a dress and a tuxedo and having the big party and all sorts of stuff, all of that shit comes after you sign the marriage certificate. You're already married. So what's
several days
the
after, in fact.
Right.
Usually.
Right. My wife and I got that marriage certificate done like 4 or 5 days before we got married. We were already married. That's just pomp and circumstances. So, okay, if that is the case, then just change the document. Just change the document, dude. Just change the document. You want to have a marriage certificate? Everybody, the government spends whatever amount of money helping the states mail out a bunch of new civil union documents to all of the married people. You want to rip it up? That's on you. Who gives a fuck? Put it next to your marriage.
All you got to do, just hit Control A on the Book of Federal Laws. Control F, replace marriage with civil union. Save. Done.
Save. Print. Like, this is it. That's it. Get rid of marriages. Like, just get rid of marriages on any level, state or federal. All you have to do is you have to go and you have to have, in order to have a contract between those two people for a civil union, you have to be of age, and it needs to be the same age in every state. It needs to be the same age.
No, Jay, we got to leave that to the states, because if 14-year-olds want to get married,
they
absolutely should be able to for some reason.
What if my 15-year-old daughter wants to marry somebody? Then wait, you creep. Wait. Just wait. You can have your civil union when you're 18. It should be across the board. It should be 18. Boom. 18. Frankly, probably should be 30. Honestly. Should be fucking 30. People getting married way too young. But yeah, nah, man, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. I think it's the best move. I'd love to hear Republicans' thoughts on that. I'd wonder what they'd say. Oh, that's not fair. Because they would literally be
circuit them.
But they would be literally arguing for the federal government to be involved. for the federal government to be involved, which is weird to me.
I mean, Jay, the consistency in their arguments has never been a hallmark of the conservative.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.